Well, hello everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your host, Joan of Angels, and you are actually live with Joan of Angels and Alan on higher ground together with Alan and Joan. Alan should be showing up, but if not, welcome to all of you guys. So we have an amazing treat for you. Today we are going to be talking to Jodi Sirota, who is an awesome being. She's a crystal skull keeper, and she's going to be coming to our conference in Sedona. And we wanted to tell you a little bit about her and give you a chance to meet her. But in the interim, just to let you know, I'm Joan of Angels. I'm a spiritual advisor, oracle of ancient wisdom, and a soul essence portrait painter, and working with Neil Gar Portal to Ascension, where we help people remember who they are and take them through the mystery schools and trainings to help them accelerate their growth and actually go through that portal to ascension. So welcome, 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 wherever you are. If you're here, let us know. Give us where you're from so we have an idea of who we're connecting with. And we are really pleased to welcome you all here. So meanwhile, let me tell you a little bit about Jodi. Jodi is one of New York's leading life-changing metaphysical educators, working as a channel, a vibrational healer, and a professional artist. She is also the owner of a very powerful Green Jadeite Crystal Skull, probably one of the most unusual skulls you're ever going to see, and she's known as Greenie. And Greenie works on issues such as love, self-worth, relationships, finding your purpose, your truth, your desire, and passion. And Greenie also works on prosperity and abundance. So you can join Jodi at our conference coming up. But meanwhile, we have Jodi right here. We're happy to welcome her. Welcome, Jodi. We are so happy to see you. Oh, and Greenie.
This is Greenie. I feel like Greenie is male to me, so it's my little pal here. And I found Greenie years ago after working with Max, the ancient crystal skull, for a number of years with Joanne Parks. I would bring her and Max into New York City, where I still live, like twice a year. And Max would bring there's a clear quartz crystal skull that would bring in the higher frequencies from the higher dimensions. But Greenie, it's an interesting story. I'll try to make it as short as possible to fit it in. But first, when I saw Max, there was a whole thing that just shifted for me. I didn't even know about crystal skulls. I had a client of mine that said, you should check this out. There's this woman in New York with a crystal skull. And I was like, okay, I'll just go. I called up to get an appointment, and they did a group thing and also individual appointments. And what happened is there were all these synchronicities, because I said I really only want to do it just to see what it is for myself. And he said it was all booked up, but we'll put you on the bottom of the waiting list. And that was at, I think, about 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night. Saturday morning, he called me in the morning. I just said, well, whatever is meant to be. And then he called me at 8 o'clock in the morning, and he said, I put your name on the bottom of the list last night, and today, the next morning, suddenly your name is actually on the top of the list. So I thought
This is when you were meeting Max, right?
Yeah, this was Max. The reason I'm going to tell you is because it has to do with light language, about Max. Then I'll go on to Greenie. So I went to this little tiny church in New York. I just went there not knowing anything about it. I met Joanne Parks, and there was a man that ran this little church. And there was a woman that was activating Max with light language, but she didn't really speak. She didn't channel in English. She only channeled in light language. She was wearing all white with long blonde hair. I was wearing all black with dark hair. And she said, just lie down and I'll show you what's going to happen. So she started to do these languages, and I sat up and I said, it just came out of my mouth, I know these languages, I've spoken them before. And she said, then sit up and just put your hands on it with me. And I went into all these languages, and she was doing languages, and we were kind of going back and forth, and we started laughing. The energy was building higher and higher. I could feel it even while I'm talking. And it just opened up, and then all of a sudden, I started to channel, because I've been channeling for many years, also in English. And I channeled that she was from the Pleiades, opening up some kind of portal while we were together. And I was more from the energy of Sirius, and that we were opening up this portal of energy coming in that aligned everything and whatever the things were. But from that point on, I was um, dreaming about clear quartz crystal skulls overlapping in my dreams for like years. And when I left that space, first of all, the guy that was watching, he was watching this whole thing, who owned the place there, the church. And what happened is he kept treating me like this high priestess, like you've been initiated, and I'm going to show you something else, and that no one gets to see unless they take 2 years to adapt to whatever we're going to be able to see this. He took me into a room that had all these things on a low stage that were all covered with cloths. But he kept treating me like this high priestess as he's walking me into this room. And I'm like, okay. And meanwhile, I was so spaced out from the experience of the skull. And so then he takes all the cloths off, and all these different crystal skulls from all different places, all different stones. I didn't even have a chance to really look at everything, because it was like everything was so much energy for me. So, and he just kept saying, you've already been initiated in other lifetimes. You're this high priestess. And so he was giving me the opportunity to see all this. So then I leave, and I give my card to Joanne Parks. And I said, if you ever want me to bring in the skull or connect with me in any way, I'm happy to talk to you. I'd love to talk to you. So anyway, something came up where she was coming. It got canceled. She asked me to do it. And then I ended up doing this continuously for many years, over 20 something years, every different 2 times a year. And what I would do with it is I would do a group thing for everyone, and Joanne would also speak about the background of Max. And then what I would do is throughout the weekend, I would do half an hour sessions for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nonstop from like 9 in the morning to 11. And it was really amazing for me to just watch how information just kept pouring through me about all different things. And the people were leaving, and then they were bringing their own skulls. And when you bring your skulls, I mean, even for the conference, you don't have to touch the skulls, with your skull to that. When you're in the audience, even the energy from the skulls is downloading for us, and also downloading. They kind of download to each other, all the skulls. So it's not necessary. I mean, with Joanne, what she used to say is you need to touch the skull. Well, at least for Max. So what we did at the end, we didn't have a lot of time because we would have a few hundred people, but they would just come and they would put their hands on Max, and gradually they started. I had Greenie next to it. They would take some of their time of like a few moments, like a minute, to put their hands on Greenie, and and it turned into, like, for me, it was like my child was being paid attention to. So it became a whole thing with Greenie and Max in New York. But then I went to Guatemala another later time with my husband at the time, and I climbed up on top of one of the pyramids where it's open up there, and I put out to the universe, if I meant to, find me an ancient crystal skull. And we had to leave from there to go back through Cancun in Mexico, to just leave to go home back to New York. And it was raining, and the only thing to do was go to some mall. So we go to this mall, we open the door, I start hearing something talking to me telepathically. Come over here, take me home, you need to take me home so I can work with you. Anything to do with what Joan had mentioned, passion, purpose, prosperity, abundance, compassion, and more, anything to do with the heart. And my work has become opening the portal to the multidimensional heart, or the gateway to the multidimensional heart, through a lot of the work that I do. And that came through Greenie telling me all these things. And so we went all the way through the mall, bringing me to a gemstone store that was really was more of a jewelry store, but high-end jewelry store made of gems. And this was the only thing like that in the front. And I put my hand on it, and then it started really saying to me, you need to take me home. They told me what I was going to pay for it. I didn't even know what it was going for. And eventually the whole thing happened, a whole other thing happened, but it was like $5 within the difference of what the skull told me, which was much, much more than that. So it was amazing. So anyway, so we brought it home and been working with it ever since, and it's helped me a lot. And probably should work with it more now. I have more relationship things going on right now. But anyway, it's been really a lovely gift for me to have this. And at the beginning, I was thinking, what am I going to work with Max already? I do a lot of unusual things. What am I going to do with a green head? And
With a
but
green head, that's what you called him, a green head?
when I first saw it, I was like, what? I'm asking for this. Somehow it comes to me. And it was like, now I'm really going to be kind of nutty, more nutty to most people. But a lot of everything I do is a little unusual. So we are all together in the same boat. But I was told that I was told that the skulls, because I kept asking, like, what are they? Because I would get a lot of information just by putting my hands on the skulls. I get information anyway. I don't really believe we need outside things. We're really here to get that within ourselves. But they kept telling me that the skulls and ourselves are time capsules of consciousness, time released, and the time is now. So it's like, when you have a time capsule, usually you put things from something that happened in the past into the time capsule so that eventually somebody will find it and be able to utilize that information or energy in this case. So, but what I found is that when I started with had Greenie as well, something came about, kept asking about because the light language continued. And I already was doing vibrational sound healing through my voice that helps for clearing karmic miasms or knots in your field, in your morphogenetic field, but also helping to clear the energetic filters that are outdated, that you don't really need to be working with anymore, that have been continued through different lifetimes. The higher pitched sounds, or the sounds in general, will go into where it first began and unravel that or transmute it, and then bring the clarity of without having that through all of your lifetimes, and bringing the energy down into your life now, so that you don't have to hold on. There's no more filter that your life is, say it's if you were going through survival for some reason, and then it kept creating the same thing over and over again until now in this ascension time we have the opportunity in an accelerated time frame to really move through things and really come back to the truth of who we are and our empowerment and fullness and higher consciousness and being part of everything and knowing that we're love, the pureness of God, Goddess, all that there is. So I forgot what I was saying there.
Well, it's okay for a minute. Take a deep breath. But so I want to point out that you actually heard Greenie call you.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That happens with a lot of the skulls. They can, not for everyone maybe, but for me, they talk to me. And
I heard Max once when I was walking down the hallway at an event, but they wouldn't let me go see him. But I heard him call me, so I know that it's true. You can actually hear those skulls call you. And were you surprised then that you were hearing it in the middle of this mall?
Well, the mall thing was a little odd. I walked into a mall and all of a sudden, go here, come over here. It was like, come over here, come over here. And then it told me when I put my hand on it, it almost felt like a pet, because it was like so sweet and so loving. It was so pure love and gentle. But it was saying, come over, you need to hear this. You're like, so, but for me, I had been channeling for many, many years. So I tend to hear, feel, and see. I'm an artist. You would think I would see first, but I hear my guides talking to me most of the time, and then they show me images of what's going on. They describe it through me. Even doing this, I did a prayer before I started to just be able to channel whatever needs for who's ever listening. So but that's why it comes through so fast. It's like, okay, but I'm not out of breath. It's just anyway. So, but so the light languages, for me, are very connected to the skulls. And the skulls, one of the things is that the skulls grow in the earth, so they're connected to the earth. but they're also connected to the stars, the planets, and beyond the beyond. So being around them, they also remind us that we are, spirit and in the etheric realms, but we come into physicality. We have to be grounded and anchored. It's like a grounding wire on, like a radio or TV or something, where there's a sense of grounding to bring it. It's like the antennas up through us, but bringing it through. So we have to recognize our sense of being on the earth as well as um, being from the universe, from the etheric energies. So, and what I found is that the light language connects us. What I was told, I kept asking, well, what is the light language doing through me? And they said it was connecting to the earth plane before humans inhabited the earth. When you listen to these languages, so it's like before there was karma, when the earth was really clean and so the slate is clean to move from. So connecting from the earth plane before karmic patterning began, and also remembering ourselves in terms of being multidimensional, the same way the skulls grow in the earth and are part of the universe. The multidimensional part of us is we're in human experience and form now, but we need to we're coming into really aligning ourselves with remembering. It's about remembering that we are of the earth and we're of the universe and of the earth in this lifetime. So we need to acknowledge all of it. So that's part of what the light language comes through to help people to awaken to being multidimensional, and also coming back to like the clean slate, like where we can start from a clean place without all the karma and everything else. And then it's also the light language, in addition to that, awakens your codes of consciousness. It's like these dormant codes that are sitting in there waiting for us to be awakened so we can remember the fullness of who we are, and to live from, living life from a higher conscious perspective. So, and everybody has different reasons for why their light language comes through. That's very specific for me. But and when I work with sound healing, sound helps to go back into lifetimes where energetically they don't take you there, but they go back energetically to where the beginning of any particular thing that's like a pattern or a filter that your life is still going through in this life now, paralleling it, to going to the past to get to that where it began. The sounds penetrate that and transmute it. And then when that happens, then they bring that clear energy up through all the way through your lifetimes and down into yourself, and coming back into clarity, so you can start from the place of where you really come from, of love and compassion and forgiveness, all the things that, and ability to be recognized and know we believe that we're meant to be here and acknowledged and all of that. Then I also am an artist. My background is painting, and like Joan, she also was an artist in all of this. And I do abstract painting, and my background's always been painting. And so I was saying, like, what do I do with the painting? Like years ago, I said to my guys, I don't want to stop painting. So they said, have an umbrella of art, metaphysics, education. So it's education through the arts, education through the so anyway, that gave me kind of an umbrella so I can connect it all together. Because people come to me a lot and say, I know how to do this, but this is coming up. I don't know which to do. You don't really have to give up anything. It's another part of your codes. So they told me to paint with intentions about anything to do with healing and consciousness raising, whatever the things are, whatever the people actually need. So I used to do them specifically when I'd have someone's name and I would paint something and then eventually give it to them just by using their name. So, but now I do my art where I just come up with intentions, and I also I sometimes put light language into the art. So it's still abstract art, but it's regular art pieces, but with some of the languages between it. And then I started to do some just languages, just to show how you can be experiencing something related to that. But so, so just everyone take a deep breath. I'll do that too. Just to
All
kind of
right.
get in.
So
What?
before you start with that, I want to do two things. Alan's trying to connect his microphone and his video, so he's going to come on in a minute. And I just want to welcome everyone who's here. I want to say hello to Deb and Heidi and Melody. I haven't seen you all for so long. Blessed by the best. And welcome Mary Jean. And I don't want to leave anyone out. Let's see, because I see all these people that are wonderful to see. And we just want you to make sure you feel like you're in the field with us. Valentina, Sharon, Dr. Andre, Mary Jean. We want to say hello to Sharon, Heidi, Joan of Angels. Okay, she's in the house. Lars. So, and Mark, I want to welcome you all. And I did see that someone mentioned that they're from the UK, and we also have a conference going on in Glastonbury. So, if you want to know more about that, let us know. Alan dropped out. Okay, he dropped out, so he'll probably come back in. Barbara, love you all. So happy to see you. Lisa, thank you for being here and experiencing this energy. Adriana, welcome. So, Jodi, you actually look like you and Greenie are so compatible. The color you're wearing,
I know I
it's
work
like
color
you're,
finely. I
it's
always
like you're color coded with him. And so, what's it like to find your skull before you channel him and do your light language? What's it like for someone to come to a conference, say like ours, and find your skull?
well, when this came up for me, well, even the thing with Max, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about that. This client of mine just said, go check it out. So I did. And I didn't, meanwhile, the first thing that happened, other than the languages, this man was treating me like a high priestess. I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. He kept
I
telling me
suppose
how
you
I
should.
did ignite, gone through initiations, and he was saying all these things to me. And I was like, okay. I was so spaced out though, like I couldn't even be grounded to receive all of it. But but that's what I said. Like when this came up for me, even though I asked for it and I received it, but it was like I was like, okay, it was expensive, a lot of money to buy this. And I was thinking, do I need this? Am I like, um, but I sat saying to myself, now what am I going to do with this green head? Like from a normal point of view, like the earthly point of view. But it's been really lovely, and it comes with me. I'm not just going to take them anywhere, but it's in my room all the time, like in my bedroom with me, like on the, so I just have this energy because it's about love, but it's about the open heart. And there's so I think, when people even, and I also, I mean, there's a thing about what's ancient and what isn't ancient. I think all crystal is ancient, but not all skulls are carved from an ancient time. There may be a different energy, but I think they all have something, that they have something to offer. And I brought this skull to Nick Nocerino. He's passed now, but he was someone who, he's the one that came up with, there'll be 13 crystal skulls, 12 or 13 crystal skulls that come together. It's going to awaken everything on the earth. And he had gotten a lot of this information when he was like 8 years old. And he was a metaphysical teacher. I didn't study with him, but I knew him through Joan Parks. And I brought Greenie to California to see him, and he said well, he never said if it's new or ancient or not, but he did say that it's jadeite, this skull, and he said it's unusual to find such a big piece of jadeite. It would have had to be much bigger to be able to even be carved into this size because it's heavy. It's like, I think it's about 12 pounds or something like that. So it's solid. So also, I was thinking if I was going to get a skull, you can see into it. I've actually seen the Mitchell Hedges skull. I went up. I was like skull crazy for a while, and at the time, I traded with my husband to go with me to go see a baseball game in Canada, and then we would also go to see the skull together. So that skull, I tried to use the sound with it, but it didn't work the same way. It also was clear. It's a different kind of energy, and it had I could see like little um, flying saucers and little interesting things in the skull. And when my husband and I left, I didn't feel as much from that skull. I guess it was more, I was more connected at the time to Max. And then Greenie came to me, but it was before Greenie. But it turned out when we were in the car leaving from that skull, both my husband and I got really spaced out after the fact. So I think, I forgot his name. Bill is his name, who's coming with that skull.
Bill Homan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because they have all different purposes, I feel. And even if they're small skulls, I think I have a lot of little skulls and all different sizes and things like that, and I put them next to each other because they sort of download to each other, and they all have different purposes. Sometimes they give you a name. This one told me his professional name is the Green Jadeite Crystal Skull, also known as Greenie, if you meet him. So,
Guess who's here?
Hey, Jodi.
Hey,
Hey,
Alan.
Joan. Thanks.
Welcome, Alan. Very
I
nice to
love.
see you. I was
Thank
just
you.
going
I
to
love
ask,
listening to Jodi's stories because
right? Right? I was
we
just going to ask her.
we took spirituality 101 in New York, and when was it? 1980, Jodi,
Yeah, we've known each other for years.
for years, and you have evolved to be a real leader, to be really connected to the energies. Remember, first time thing that I noticed that I felt this energy, this vibration around you. I said, "Wow, Jodi really has something there." So
Alan.
I love, I loved her initiation, her openings, her when she opens a ceremony, she really clears the space and lets the divine energy through. So yeah, I only heard some of that. Where were you? What were you discussing?
Well,
One,
I wanted to ask you a question, Jodi. What's it like then when all the skulls come together? Like, does Greenie like to go visit skulls? Does he love their company? Like, what? But when you're in a room full of these big ancient skulls, what's it like for you and for Greenie?
I just think they download to each other. So it's like they share. That's how I feel, like they share. Like as people, a lot of times people hold on to things as if they have that information and it's theirs alone. I believe that all of this is, we all come from the same source of love. God, is all that there is. So in a way, I think they can teach us, that they don't, I mean, they're not going to move around. I mean, they can move around. Some of them do. But I think they all have individual um, identities and purposes, but it's all interwoven together. When they come together, especially for going to
Sedona.
Sedona, Sedona itself is so potent with so much energy. I've been there like 3 or 4 times in the past, but I haven't been there in years. But I think the combination of the energies of what the skulls bring through and the energies of what goes on in Sedona, because a lot of things from other dimensions come through in Sedona, and the energy is also very potent and just in groundedness at the same time. But these skulls are connected. They're growing the earth, but they're connected to the stars, or however you want to look at that. So I feel like it emphasizes it all, and it awakens you. It sort of gives you, like, without drugs, it just
Mhm.
gives you that kind of awakening.
Yeah, I want to ask you, Jodi. Do you think because skulls are the shape of human skulls, they're the sort of antennas of consciousness? There's something about the morphology that pulls what we're calling consciousness into it. That's my
Well,
theory.
I feel like, yeah, I agree. I feel like, well, first of all, I feel like they're meant to be in this. I've been told, my guides have told me that they're meant to be put into this shape because, first of all, in sacred geometry, shapes of things, energy moves through shapes for particular purposes. So our brain is encased in this shape.
Right.
So if we have different skulls, even though everybody's skulls are slightly different, but it's connected to the human skull. So I was told there's another piece I want to say at some point before I end, but um, when we would find, they also would, when we would find them, they might have been in the ground, or whatever. But when we would find them, we would pay attention to them because they look like us, you know. So it would bring us into like paying attention, so that. But like you were saying, antennas. It's like where, our energy comes through the higher parts of our consciousness, but it has to come through the shape to be able, like even our brains, our thoughts, or whatever, they come through something to bring us through into whatever the next thing is. So it's sort of the same as like what you were talking about. But I think it has to do with the sacred geometry of it.
One more question I have. I know Joan has lots of questions because Joan just loves crystal skulls, and she is really excited about we're doing this conference, and it is fantastic that we have a chance to bring so many fantastic skulls together, from Himalayan crystal skulls to Mexican to maybe even Native American, South American. So did the skull Greenie there help you evolve spiritually in a particular way that you would not have if you didn't have that skull? You know what I mean?
Well, I think on one level it opens your heart, which is a good thing. Because I think, for me, it's like open, close, open, close. It can get big and more, So it helps for that. I've put things underneath the skull with intentions. I just got to do that, write something or do something and put that underneath, to help me to align with something or someone. Sometimes I don't know if that's what I meant to do, but I stuck some things there that had to do with particular people. So asking it if if it's meant for me, help me to open up to receive things like that, or help somebody else if somebody else needs help. Sometimes I've done that. I forgot the other part of the question.
That's okay. I just wondering if it helped you evolve.
In terms of the light language, because that came through as soon as I put my hands on Max, and I was like, what is this? But it felt completely. I said out loud to this person who was doing it, I wanted to. I've spoken these before, and I want to speak them now. It was like I would never just say that to someone who was doing the actual healing, and it came out of my mouth. And she said, "Okay," as I was lying down. She said, "Just come and put your hands on it with me, and let's do it." We started like doing it back and forth, like we were having a conversation, and the energy was getting higher. It became it was an opening. It became this whole opening. And I've been using light language, became a huge piece of my work, because I even put it in my paintings, I sing them, I speak them, I talk them, and I have guides that come through speaking it. I have ancient beings coming through, higher, so from the stars, the planets, beyond the beyond.
Right. Well, one more question. I know Joan might be interested in this too. We're going to have a lot of crystal skulls for sale there. Is there a way to activate the skulls? Some people say that is a way to, if you're just getting one of these, little copies, even a little skull, how do you suggest people work? You could get a skull in a shop now. How do you work with them? How do you make it like a tool for the consciousness to move through?
Great question.
I think first you need to feel like, kind of go like this. You're going to go across all these skulls, just kind of, even if you close your eyes, just to be guided to how it feels for you. This thing came to me, it called me, but as soon as I saw it, I put my hand like this on it, and it was like, oh, it's like a pet. I love this. It was like love at first sight. Yeah, not about sight, but feeling. So first I was like a green head, but need to really feel for which is the one for you, or just ask. Yeah, I always feel like ask so you shall receive. So it's like, okay, I'm going to look for a crystal skull, and I go to a store and there's a whole bunch of them, or just a few. And some of them might look kind of weird, so you might, from your mind, start going, oh, I don't know, I would want it to be clear, but then I would just say, like, God, ask the skulls, guide me to, and your soul, your own soul, your higher self. Which one is the most appropriate for me at this particular time? You may find another time it would be another one that you work with, or the same, or both. So that. And then to activate them, I think it's just really touching them. Putting your hand on them, holding them, and just ask, sort of invite it into your life and just say, thank you for coming. It's all gratitude, like a person, like coming into your life like a teacher, and saying, if you're meant to teach me something, I'm open to receiving. How can that be? And they, they maybe say something, but I think it's more about your own skull holding
Mm.
it. It's something, for your own brain, it might be helpful too to put your hands on your head just to kind of feel your own connection to yourself.
Right.
So you put your hands on your head. Also, like I know I go eye to eye. I put my third eye on the skull.
Actually wasn't saying that in relation to doing that with the skull, but I was saying that for ourselves. But you could do that. But the other thing that I've done, I'll show you, like you're just saying. And I wasn't taught this. I just started doing it when I was working with Max, and then I do it with this one. This one's different because it's so solid. With the other one, you could sort of see into it. So I would just take my own forehead and put my third eye, like you were saying, like this, and I would just hold it on the sides. And you can do it with your eyes open and receive the energy through your eyes. It's like, when you look into someone, you see into their soul through their eyes. So it's connecting back and forth that way. But it's also, and then you can do it with your eyes closed. The other thing is, what I was told is that the Tibetans used to put a skull, like you'd lie down, like next to it on the floor or on something. And there's ways. I used to do axiotonal light grid work, which I don't really do anymore, but those are like the meridians that are in our system are based on the energetic meridians inside of the, which are your axiotonal light grids. So I would do I would have the person lying down next to it, and I would start to do certain things like this or like this, whatever those, even people who do, what do you call it, work with their hands, for Reiki or whatever kind of thing. You can kind of you can maybe work on your head, the head, and do it on your own head at the same time. But I was told also that the Tibetans would do this work where they would work on the skull, just going over the grid system, and it would go down the whole body. The other thing I was told is the energy is different from all different parts of the skull, all different sides. So sometimes I'll just do, work with one side of the skull for myself. I don't always do that with other people, but and then I was told that the teeth have to do with different dimensions. So I would experiment with things like that, just touching them. And if it's a little tiny skull and you can't do all that, you just hold them. You bring them with you, put them in your pocket But the other thing is, I really think it's important to focus on being sacred. These are sacred objects, and through all time and space, all time on the planet. We've always had things that, like, when you go to, different, like you're going to go to Egypt, there's different things about Egypt, and the thing is sacred. There's sacred spaces. So these are sacred. I think of it as a sacred object, and it has its own consciousness. It's crystal. Crystal connects to the earth and the universe, and crystal grows. But the other piece to this, I just want to say this because I think this is related to the light languages. This is for me. I don't know for anyone else, but I had a download or a dream years ago after I was working with the skulls, and they came to me and they were showing me that 12 of us from the different star systems came before, like, remember I was saying that the languages for me are a combination of energies from the earth plane before karmic patterning began, before humans inhabited the earth. So I was shown this whole visual thing of us, 12 of us from all different star systems coming onto the earth, and planting sort of seeds in crystals. And each one of these star systems had different languages, vibrational languages of how they're on. So they put them there, but they were all working together. That was the key. We were all working together. We went to all different parts of the earth, placed these things in there. Then we all left. So it was like time. Remember I said time capsules of consciousness, their time release, the time is now, and for us as well. So then we came back. I don't know what the time frame was, but we came back again. And this time I think we came with 13, not 12. was confused about that, but it's interesting because Nick Nocerino's prophecy was something about when 13 skulls come together, it'll change the world. So we came back and we changed the energy of the crystals that were in the earth. This is what they showed me, into the shape of what I was talking about before with Alan, the geometric shape of actual human skulls, so that when the time was right, that whole thing about the timing, we would come back to the earth and we would find them when we need them. And they would, when we connect to them, they would activate that within ourselves. But it's, to me, it's the light language that comes through. And I speak all different light languages from all different places and times. And the light language, whether it's through the skulls or just, the energy that came through me to open, that opened me up completely. And I use them in a lot of things that I do. So it was like, it starts off, we all came together, then we put into the crystals to hold it. Then we came back and changed it into the form of skulls, so that one day in the future, people would find them when we needed it, which is this particular 26,000 year cycle for ascension. And when we would find them, we would connect to them, and it's awakening us by just being around these skulls. But it's connected to light language. And the key that I kept hearing was, it had to do with all the different star systems when we came. It was before karmic patterning began on the earth, but it was also a collaborative effort. Like, we're doing this together, all of us, we're doing these things. Collaborative effort to awaken people's consciousness back to their original codes, their gifts, their ability to remember who they are as etheric spiritual beings, but in connection to the earth. So it's all interwoven. So those languages, the way they come through me and for the purpose, is for that finally coming into that your own time capsule of your consciousness. So when I use these sounds and light languages and all that, it really clears karma, but then it releases something that awakens your codes and your connection of why you're on the earth and how we work together then. And this is a time for us to work together in unison for the greater whole.
Great. Yes. Great. That's great.
So does Greenie have a little message for us?
And do you want to do some light language with that message, Jodi?
Yeah, I would do that more than.
Let's do that, and then we can show. I want to show that picture on the website of all the crystal skulls coming together, like the keepers. We have a great picture on the website of the skull keepers with their skulls, and I kind of want to flash that on with, everyone seeing Jodi and her skull live right now. So let's go in that route.
I just want to say, people can join Jodi and me and Joan in Sedona, November 17th to the 19th, 2023 at the Creative Life Center. And the website again for tickets. What is that website, Joan? Crystal Skull.
I'm going to share it right now.
Okay, good. Yes.
Let's share it while we're taking a break before Jodi comes on. And I think we've already put the link in. But guys, it's you're going to see it in Sedona, which already is a vortex. And that's why we're doing it. Look at these gorgeous skulls over here. So,
and some of the major skulls on the planet, the Mitchell Hedges skull, of course, is probably the most well-known because it's one of the clearest. And
look at how the eyes are different than Jodi's, though, than Greenie. I find it really fascinating. So these are some of the skull keepers that we've been talking to that are going to be coming.
Ford, Yap.
Yap is coming. We have Kirby is coming.
Carolyn Ford
with his
Einstein.
skull.
Yes.
But look how different each of the skulls are. None of them are like Jodi's, actually, which is a solid color. But here's a picture. Yeah. I want to show the picture. Oh, there's Shabati coming with AIU.
And
we have
Star Fuentes. Jodi, do you want to say anything about Star Fuentes and her skull? She has a crystal skull school, a mystery school.
Star, actually, I studied with Star many years ago, and we're really close now. And she started getting like skull crazy. No, I'm kidding. She started collecting skulls from like all over the world, really large ones, smaller ones. She's got like, I don't even know, probably hundreds of these things, smaller ones. She set up grids in where she lives. She lives in the Stone, and she'll be there. And she's an amazing teacher. And she also wrote a booklet. She was telling me, I think she mentioned it on one of the conferences we've had, that she, on a how do you work with your crystal skull. She's great with teaching really specific kinds of things like that. So she's going to be having a booth there. Hopefully I'll be able to go to her booth as well. And she's going to, I don't know what she's doing, if sessions or not, but she's got really amazing skulls to have you see, but also an experience just being around them, but also she's selling a lot of things as well. So, but she's amazing. She really, she does a lot of shamanic work and all these things. She does work she's been continuing just to grow and keep going no matter how long it's been. So, so she's someone definitely to check out her booth and her.
That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And to see everyone together and to see how unusual Greenie is quite interesting, and how the eyes are so different. He looks like a powerhouse.
So like when I try to show you what I used to think it looked like a cantaloupe on the outside, on the back. But watch, this is like when you just see the back. It's just like, what is that? But when I first got Greenie, there were all these inside the stone. There were all these black marks that looked in the stone. Was in the stone. And actually, speaking of Star, I was doing some kind of other kind of light language course with her about health and well-being. Different kind of language. She has different things she does. But I had the booklet. Oh, it was like a huge book of all the different, things that symbolized different things, grids and stuff. But at one point, I looked at the eyes of the skull was in the room while I was doing this over and over, trying to remember all these things that she was teaching. And at one point, I saw something like a drawn thing, like when you draw a third eye, like the eye with something inside it. And then eventually, the dark moved out of there. You don't see any of it anymore. It used to be dark inside these eyes, and it just changed itself. I thought maybe it's on there, and but it wasn't. It was in the stone. So I think they're also possibly evolving through ourselves and each other. The way we, even our energy. If we don't say anything, and you're standing next to someone, now you can feel, should I connect or not connect, or just stand there and just feel something, or not feel something, not stay there because it doesn't feel right. So I think that's this. They're all, it's all together as one, everything. So
I love it. So can you do a little activation for everyone so they can have a taste of what that's like? It doesn't have to be long, but just give them a little taste.
I'll say just one more thing. I'm showing you the back. This is like an elongated head.
I know, it's huge.
So I don't know if that means it's connected to star systems. Sometimes we see those elongated heads, or Egypt always shows things like that. So but anyway, I think it's connected to the stars, the earth, everything, all everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work a little bit with sound and also the light languages. The intention, let's see, to open the heart and remember your sacredness.
Okay.
So just going to move it over a little side because I'm like half on a couch to get it on the screen here. So close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. And just breathe and allow yourself to relax. And keep your eyes closed so you can stay within. This skull helps to work on opening to the multidimensional, the gateway to the multidimensional heart. And that's to remember now that we're sacred. Everyone is sacred. I'm going to start with sound, clearing anything that's in the way from any time, space, or dimension. From lineage, generations, and ancestries through all time, space, dimensions, timelines, lifetimes, just a quick little thing. Hold an intention of what you would like to shift to bring you back to the sacredness and recognition of yourself. Daim rashatan esikyana de dorushimya yana rokoyar. Om barashram maraki maraki malaki maraki tate tu kuringya makonyaka breathe. Zamaradi maraguna malaki maradi marade te runoro sharo. Connect to the value of who you are in the truth, the highest truth. So you can receive it and feel it and know that you're meant to be on this plane and you're meant to be held by the energy of Gaia, the mother of earth, as earth, and anchoring you more fully into your own body, bringing more of your soul into your body to feel your connection and to know that you count and you make a difference being here just by being. O Shana Nekim Salalim Maratarimba. Isiato kwa im ya ina o shio kwa inta inda di ushna urar. Umbari miraki malagi 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 mardere re bololori basari mani dada durum maradi di kumare kumbada. Romari shanane kumarada shanane. Om Marani Myanmar, Roma Umanga Imyango Imango 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 Om Imya Yana Ne Gonomana no Ishketar Purishan Takwaram Isusasi Kosaya breathe. Gosia nar ushin negis roburish kadari dur el ishund. Ikutan ila alu shukra. Brishuralu kalakim bleki tulianta. And breathe and feel the energies of the angelic realms, the legions of the angels and the archangels, as if to complete this, sending you so much love. Speaking angelic language. Echal elekil ela shacharokwar. Remember who you already are. To be able to be happy and to remember that you chose to be here for a reason. And that will be shown to you if you're not, just by asking. Keep asking. What are my next steps? What am I here to, that I agreed to allow myself to evolve and to remember the truth of who I am in relation to all inhabitants, in the earth, on the earth, beyond the earth. Echalam malechim el ar, irishukur ichal el achim ashachan. Eshan nachani machale lachalim laya nachale lago sharor. Amare kori ashanero. Achanare ki aramaki araromare. Oh, mai aragunaro. And take a deep breath and allow yourself to come back to a higher consciousness.
Nice. Nice, Jodi. Very nice. Jodi's going to be doing some opening ceremonies to bring in some of these higher energies for people attending this conference as we all kind of tune into these new frequencies together with these skull facilitators. It's going to be fantastic, Joan, isn't it?
No, it really is. That was so ancient, Jodi. That was just spoke right to my heart. Like it just went right in, and the audience is really loving it. Um, well, if you have a few small ones, then bring them to Sedona so that you can actually have them connect and download information, not just from Greenie, but from all of the amazing skulls that are going to be there. And if you're already connected and you speak light language or you know how to channel, this will actually open your channels even more to connect even faster. I think it's so magical that we're going to do this. So I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, and all these skulls coming together, we actually don't know what this is going to do, but it's going to do something. It's going to create. What's
It's
that?
also interesting that what's his name? I just forgot his name.
Kirby.
Nick Sereno had mentioned years and years ago. He, as a little kid, he got information that when the skulls are brought together, something was going to happen, and we're going to do it in Sedona, where something happens when you go there anyway. So this
Right.
should be interesting. We'll all be like flying around or something.
So did Indiana Jones, just to point out that when the skulls came together, it's there's prophecies about it, and it can shift the vibrational frequency and maybe even launch us faster into that ascension of the planet.
Just
And
ask
so
if I'm meant to be there. I mean, you might be wondering, should I go? Should I not go? Get a sense from your own inner guidance, your own inner crystal skull within ourselves, to your heart center. Um, is it the right place for me to be there at this particular time? And most of you, if you're on this today, you're probably meant to be there. So
you probably are. That's
just
so
the
well said,
Exactly.
Jodi. So well said. Well,
Yeah.
all right. So, Jodi, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and being with us and sharing a bit about you and bringing Greenie to us. Because I think, guys, tonight maybe you can even connect with Greenie when you're going to bed, when you think about it, because the activation's just begun. What were you going to say, Jodi?
I was going to say thank you. Thank you
Well,
for including me here and having me at the conference. I'm excited to
Let's
be there.
put her
well,
website up
yeah.
also again. Here's the link to the Crystal Skulls conference. And guys, we also have a VIP pass that you can purchase, which gives you access to the VIP dinner,
Hmm.
which is going to be in a private home. The skulls are going to be all outside together,
Hmm.
and there's going to be magical activations. You'll have a chance to be up close and personal with the skulls, and
Hmm.
perhaps you'll have an awakening just like Jodi did, which would be the hope, of course. But the dinner is a very special night with the skull keepers. You'll get to walk around and meet them, find out if you have what it takes to be a skull keeper, if that's in your blood. And
Right.
I think
I
that if
just
I
want.
was in that place, I would be a skull keeper.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. It's a special dinner we're doing for a special VIP price. It's on the website. But Jodi, I also want to tell people you give private sessions, you do this online, talk to people what you do and how do they reach you for a private session.
I do Akashic record readings. It's the readings like a library that's an etheric library of your soul through all time, space, and dimensions. So I work with unraveling the guides will come through unraveling the patterns of whatever's keeping you from whatever you need to be in your life, but also you come with an intention, a few intentions, and then I typically bring through the sound to clear all that and bring you back up into not having that anymore, and then working with the light languages which start to awaken your codes of your consciousness. So it's really deep and powerful. It's for people who really want to make some shifts and changes. And I also do ongoing work with people. I have a thing of 12 sessions, 1 hour a week for 12 sessions, so that if they can kind of go on a journey with me and I can work with them. Um, I haven't been doing anything yet with Greenie, but I can now because I know I can show it on here now. So
Right.
I may start to promote some of that. But if you're on my mailing list, um, that's good. You can go on my website, jodisirota.com, and you can come get on our mailing list that way. And if you want to call, I have an assistant that will set it up for you. 212-736-0999.
Great.
Zero
Thank you.
nine nine nine.
Yeah. I picked the numbers years ago for my art studio, and I kept it when I had my
Can you repeat that? 212
736 09.
0999. Perfect. You
Or
know, I want to just point out that I've had a session with Jodi that really awoke a lot of memories. And this week I'm going to have another one to wake up some of my memories about Egypt. So she's very powerful.
session with Joan this weekend because I've had that with her before. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so we work with each other, but you know, I love working with Jodi to awaken my memories. So powerful. It was really life changing. So I
Thank
guess
you, Jodi. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. Greenie. And we look forward to seeing you and all the skulls together.
Yay.
thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. Check out Portal to Ascension. Check out New Realities TV, Joan of Angels, Jodi Sirota, and most of all, tune in and see if you are being called by the skulls to join us in Sedona, November 17th through the 19th. All right,
Also,
guys.
check out the Glastonbury Ascension.com Portal to Ascension Conference in August. If you're England, UK, anywhere, come to meet us there at this Ascension retreat, Portal to Ascension retreat.
Yeah, because you know it's interesting, Alan. You and I get to go to Glastonbury and awaken there, and then we get to go to Egypt and awaken there, and then I'm going to Greece to the Oracle of Delphi, and then we come to Sedona. The vibrations, guys, just from Alan, Neil, and I alone are going to be off the chart. And then you bring in all the skulls and the skull keepers and these activations, and we're excited to welcome you all. So have
Thank
a
you,
blessed
Joan.
and
Thank
beautiful
you.
day.
Thank
And
you, Jodi.
Thank you,
thank you,
everyone.
Alan. Thank you, Jodi. Thank you, Tina Marie. Thank you, Neil. And
Thank
we'll
you
see you all soon.
coming.
All right. Mwah.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
It's a love. Bye.